Okay, when we're looking at painting and we're talking about color, we're talking about color theory. And color theory is just a fancy name for how the colors work together and how they blend, how they mix. That's a no. Okay. And the three most important things to remember is that you have to have three colors in order to make all the others. They're called the primary colors. Let's write that down as well. And primary just means most important. A little trouble with my chalk there today. Okay, primary colors. Number one is red. 2 is blue. And they really do go in any order because they are part of a circle that just keeps going around. You'll see that in a minute. And yellow. Okay, 3 primary colors. Let's see how they work in paint. And we've got this little color chart here I'm going to fill in. It's just the basic colors of the primary colors, and then you'll see the secondary colors. We'll do that in another video, but I want to show you my supplies. I've got a paint set up here, and the first thing I'm going to need for painting is a paintbrush. And I've chosen these round brushes because I like how they will fill in my circles. Round brushes have a tendency to make curved edges really, really well. And what I like about these brushes, they're not giant, they're pretty small. This one being a little smaller than the other two, but they have a little bit of bounce to them when you flick their bristles, and that means that I'm going to have a little bit more control over something that had a really, really soft bristle to it. Okay, so I have my primary colors here, and I'm going to bring my tubes in here. These particular tubes actually say that they're primary colors. This one says primary red, we have primary yellow, and primary blue. Not every manufacturer of paint is going to give you these names. This just makes it easy for beginners. Not every shade of blue is going to be the primary color, and the same is true for yellow and red. And so that's why it's really important for you to get to know what these colors look like, so that when you go to buy paint, you're actually buying colors that are going to mix the colors that you want and are looking for. Otherwise, the colors can be kind of distorted. So let's just bring our paint palette in here. This is the next part of our paint setup. And the paint palette, I like white paper plates. These are coated so the paint doesn't soak into the paper plate, but white allows me to see my colors really well, and it's really easy cleanup. Also, I have a can of water. This is a nice sturdy can, a nice size around. I don't want something that's going to tip. I only have about this much water in the can, and the reason for that is I really don't need anything other than, let me show you here, the tip of my bristles goes about that high. I only want to come up and get the bristles. I don't want to get water up here in the metal, and there's a couple really important reasons for that. First one being that this is only glued on, it is not crimped on. So the water delaminates the glue and the brush tip can fall off the handle. The other reason for that is if I'm painting up on an angle, water can run down my arm and make a mess because it hides up in this metal area here. So just enough water to clean the bristles. I'll give them a really good cleaning at the sink when I'm done painting, but this is good for while I'm painting. Okay, so back to our palette, and this is our color wheel, a basic color wheel. It only has room for the primary colors and the secondary colors. And let's review. Our primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. And I'm going to pick up a good amount of paint here, and I'm going to start at the top with my red. I like to go into the middle first just so I can feel how much paint I have on my brush. These particular bristles hold paint really, really well, and they have a nice, because of that little bounce in them, they have a nice ability to take the paint and stroke around the edges. I'm just going ahead and staying in the lines here because I want the practice with my brush. I want the brush control that I get. So, I have a little bit too much paint on my brush there. I'm going to go ahead and wipe it off on a rag I have here and come back and finish, because if I have too much paint and I don't wipe some of it off, I'm going to make a mess, and that's not what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for brush control. So feel free to control the amount of paint you have on your brush. If you're finding that you're scrubbing really, really hard and it's kind of dry, go ahead and pick more paint up. Okay, let's go ahead and put that brush in the can, and now let's do our yellow. And again, I'm skipping a circle here because what will happen after we do these primary colors, in another video you will see us do the secondary colors, and they need some space. Alright, again, I don't mind using a lot of paint. I'm kind of used to it. I've been a painter for many, many years. But I got a little more on there than I needed. Let me take a little bit off. So this circle is not quite as neat as my last one, but you get the idea. Okay, and then primary blue. Again, I'm going to skip a circle and come over here. Now I have the smaller brush here, and so I can't pick up quite as much paint, but it still has the same ability to go around the edges here. Now, these are acrylic paints, they're not watercolor. Watercolor would be more washed out, you would see more of the paper through. The acrylic is a water-based paint and really easy to use, really easy for mixing. So it's something, especially when teaching color theory, I like to use. You'll find that painting one side of the circle is always a little easier than the other side. Actually, easier for me as a right-hander to go around the left side of the circle than it is for me to go around the right side of the circle. Now that said, if I wanted to, all I have to do is tip my paper and finish painting my circle. There's no reason why you can't be comfortable in making the strokes that you want. And there you have it, the 3 primary colors